Evermoreso. 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 Evermoreso.
Full Moon Investigations. Case 1. Immortal Monsters. Part 2. After abandoning Harry with his art student crisis, the exhausted Maggie made her way home. Her home was a modest 3-bedroom house nestled in an older neighborhood some distance away from the Full Moon office. As she entered the front door, her eyes were greeted by the sight of her 15-year-old son, Paul, lounging on the couch in a plaid housecoat watching TV. Paul's kind face beamed with a welcoming smile. "Hey, Mom, how did the stakeout for Santa Claus go?"
I'd rather not talk about it, but the case is finally closed. That's funny. Haven't heard you call Harry Santa Claus in a long time. Is your brother home?
I guess. It's not like he has a life or anything.
I don't hear his stereo blasting. He must not be up yet.
Come on, Mom. You know he won't start to function until sometime this afternoon.
I'll check on him before I take a nap.
Oh, Mom, before you go to sleep, is it okay that I tell the role-playing group that we can play over here today?
I thought you guys were meeting over at May's house this weekend.
We were.
But
Her mom is going through one of her crazy spells again.
that poor girl. It's not enough that her dad left, but she's stuck living with her crazy mother. Yeah, tell him it's fine. Are they still stuck in that underground city?
No, they got out of that last weekend when we were over at Doug's house. They're about to venture into a forest haunted by a vampire. I'm doing it mainly because they hate dealing with the undead.
Why do they always want you to be the game master if you're constantly torturing them?
Because I'm the only one in the group who has the patience to read through all the manuals.
You're the only one I know in the group that can understand the charts and graphs. Good night, sweetie.
Night, Mom. Margaret made her way down the hall to the room inhabited by her eldest son, Richard. After a gentle knock on the door, she entered. She found the 17-year-old just as she expected to, slumped across his bed, fast asleep with headphones clamped onto his skull, surrounded by a sea of hot rod and tattoo magazines. She smiled to herself and gently closed the door. At the entrance of the derelict alley, Blake Adamson placed his hand on the dead hand that rested on his shoulder. Physical contact with the tragic specter formed a new coldness within him that permeated his very being. The pale, delicate hand with broken nails glided from his shoulder and took the rose from his grasp. Relieved that the object of his affection accepted his offering, Blake turned but saw no one. Only the rose remained at the alley entrance. "You don't have to be alone anymore. You've got me now. I'm glad you like the rose. And as a matter of fact, I've got another surprise for you. I wrote a poem. I hope you like it. As we fall from castle walls and land beside our fate, we come together hand in hand with no strife or debate. We know our destiny and must take heart to stand against those who would wish to tear us apart. The clawed beast and the dagger of the night will try to destroy us thinking they're making things right. No matter what happens to us, I'll always be close to you. These immortal monsters won't separate us, no matter what they do." It's yours. I'll place it here next to your rose. As the young man placed the poem down, he was approached by a large man with a receding hairline and a bulky mustache. His wrinkled suit looked as though he had slept in it the night before. "Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?" It's none of your business." The man immediately moved his suit jacket to one side, revealing a detective badge attached to his belt. "You see that badge, kid? That makes it my business, you piece of shit. Now answer me." "No." "Wise ass, huh?" The large detective suddenly struck Blake in the stomach, then in the face. As the young man stumbled back, the detective grabbed him by the collar and thrust him against the graffiti-covered metal shutters. "Hey, you listen up, and you listen up good, shitbag. I don't know who you are, and I don't care. You've got no business being near these alleys, you understand?" "I got a right to be here." "And I got every right to stop your pathetic little ass in the dirt. Go back to where you came from and don't come around here no more." With that, Blake was tossed to the hard pavement. Glaring in anger at his assailant, he collected himself and staggered away. The infuriated police detective noticed the rose and the poem. He snatched the paper from the concrete and crushed it in his hand. His angry gaze focused on the empty alley before him. He nervously produced a metal flask from his suit jacket and took a drink. Don't do this to me. The following morning, Maggie, now wearing a competent business suit with slacks, returned to the office and noticed that Harry was already there.
Hey, Harry.
Morning, Margaret. I trust you're well rested.
Much better. How did the arrangement go with Jamie?
I think you will find the arrangement to be quite satisfactory according to your demands.
Thank you, Harry.
You will have to inform our next client that they will be charged twice as much to make up for this one.
Okay, Harry. I know you're not happy with this. Let's just get through it.
And as a matter of interest, she is an art student.
Since we're supposed to be tracking down a ghost, how do you want to approach this?
We pursue the tangible before the intangible. A task that I have already started with a surprising degree of success thus far.
How so?
The alley that supposedly acts as a home for our ghost is under the jurisdiction of the 733rd Precinct. Those series of alleys have been notorious for violent crimes, prostitution, drug trafficking, and more recently for mysterious disappearances. I found it quite odd that the detective in charge of the disappearances was none other than Detective Samuel Beauregard.
What's his story?
Beauregard is no stranger to internal affairs. He has been investigated on and off for the past decade for being on the take and for various other offenses. I find it very convenient that there has never been enough evidence to indict him.
You think he's somehow involved with the disappearances?
I'm not sure yet, but now we have a lead investigator who has a history of attracting the wrong kind of attention. But enough of that. Let's be off.
Where are we going?
To visit Miss Adamson. She said that she broke into her brother's room before, therefore she can do the same for us.
Are you serious?
She doesn't have a trained eye for investigation, Margaret, and she may have bypassed some critical information concerning the case. She gave me her class schedule, so she should be at home.
Sounds good. Does she know we're on our way?
Not yet. Call her while we're en route. As the two made their way to Jamie's residence in Harry's silver Cadillac, Maggie made a quick call to confirm the meeting.
Okay. Jamie's there and panicking because Blake didn't come home yesterday and he's not answering his phone.
That's not encouraging.
I told her that it will probably take us about half an hour or so.
Well, that's Dallas traffic for you.
You know, it's funny, but yesterday Paul called you Santa Claus. He hasn't done that in years.
I almost forgot your children used to call me that.
Come on. They were young. You have a beard and you got them all those expensive presents when Christmas rolled around. I never could thank you enough for what you did back then.
That's what friends do, Margaret. Even though I practically had to force you to accept the damn things.
You knew I had a problem trusting people. It's amazing what a parent will overcome for the sake of her kids. Speaking of which, has David moved to Florida yet?
Last week. He sent a brief text. It took me a day to read it because of this new phone Ichiko got for me. She said it was a top-of-the-line immaculate phone. So immaculate, in fact, I can barely navigate through the damn thing.
He's still not communicating with Ichiko?
No, but then that's no surprise. Being raised by an absent father and an overbearing mother who expected perfection didn't do the boy any good.
Come on, Harry. You gave of yourself what you could.
That was always the problem. Now I have an adult son with a family of his own that treats his mother and I like strangers, and I don't blame him.
No parent hits the nail on the head all the time.
Some strike more often than others. The only comfort I can take is that it wasn't all my fault. After an hour commute, Harry and Maggie arrived at an old two-story house located just outside the college campus. They were met at the door by a panic-stricken Jamie.
Thank you guys for coming by. I'm really freaking out right now. I don't know where Blake is, and I don't know what happened to him.
All right, Jamie, calm down. It's going to be okay.
Let's take things one step at a time, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
As the two entered the house, Margaret was immediately taken back by the quality of its construction.
This is a nice old house. How did you and your brother manage this?
Our grandparents gave this house to our parents after they passed. My granddad used to be the dean of the college ages ago. He built this house so he could live next to the school.
It got lots of room, so to make a little extra money for school, Blake and I rented a room for a fellow student. You know, but that fell apart pretty quickly. Our renter was under the impression that I came with the price of rent.
Have you inquired with your brother's friends as to his whereabouts?
Yeah, this morning. Nobody has seen him.
Very well. Margaret and I will go looking for the young man, but before we do, I must ask a small favor of you.
Sure.
To further this investigation, I will require access to Blake's room.
Yeah, okay. It's this way.
They follow the green-haired young woman up a flight of strong wood stairs and down a hall. Jamie stopped at her brother's door and removed a small screwdriver from her jeans pocket. She pushed the tool into the door's keyhole and began turning.
I used to date a guy who taught me how to do this. He called it a universal key. He used it frequently to steal booze from his dad's liquor cabinet. Okay, there you go. The door's open.
Thank you. Upon entering the room, Harry's eyes were quick to notice its general disheveled appearance, marred with stacks of notes, incomplete poetry, and sketches of the ghost girl. Maggie, on the other hand, was drawn to the centerpiece of Blake's madness, a large corkboard hanging on a wall adjacent to his desk. It was filled with a rainbow of sticky notes and adorned with tacks and color-coded string.
Harry, the kid has a crazy board. I've seen him in the movies, but never in real life. This is a real crazy board.
Take pictures of everything, Margaret. I'll start with this pile of drawings over here. The two produced their phones and began the process of documenting Blake's collection.
Do you need help taking pictures with your immaculate phone?
Now's not the time to be cheeky, thank you.
One look at this and you can see how much Blake really believes in this ghost.
Belief is an understatement, I'm afraid, Miss Adamson. This is obsession. She has become his world.
Ever since he's been chasing her, he's been acting more erratic. It's like he's a different person.
Harry, check this out.
What have you got there?
On his crazy board, one of the origin points for the schoolgirl legend stems from a guy called Head.
Is that a surname or a nickname?
Head? He's one of those weirdo guru types.
How do you know him?
Some of the other art majors that I hang out with buy dope from him. He also peddles occult junk like books, charms, and trinkets. You know, useless crap like that. And apparently he knows about urban legends as well. Do you know where this guy is? I heard he lives in a storm drain.
A storm drain?
Think of it, Margaret. He has no permanent address and can flee at any time if one of his illegal deals go awry. At that moment, Mr. Kramer's keen eyes detected Head's name scrawled on one of Blake's notes. Ah, very fortunate. And now we know where he resides.
I can't believe my brother would even visit that schmuck.
Oh dear. Margaret, do you remember a case that we handled about 3 years ago concerning Mrs. Dowley and her nasty divorce?
How could I forget? That bastard husband of hers kidnapped their son and hid in the storm drain for days. I still remember how the sound his nose made when I broke it. Good acoustics in that place.
Hold on, Harry. That storm drain?
The very same. Apparently, that is where this Head person has set up shop.
I can see why. That place was big and it had multiple exits for a quick escape.
Yes. Do you have enough pictures?
Oh yeah. That crazy board alone will keep us busy for a while.
Very well. Thank you for your cooperation, Miss Adamson. Now we shall be off. Leave everything as you found it, Margaret. I believe Blake is the meticulous type. After the two exited the room and Jamie relocked the door, the trio made their way back downstairs to the foyer.
We'll call you as soon as we find Blake. In the meantime, don't panic, okay, Jamie? I'll try.
To the surprise of all, Blake entered the front door. The three immediately focused on his new injuries and a shopping bag in his right hand. The two investigators made note of the odd dark shadows that encircled his eyes.
Blake? What the hell? Where have you been?
Out. I just wanted to be alone.
I've been worried sick. You could have at least answered your phone.
Sorry.
Sorry? You put me through hell worrying about you and all you can say is sorry?
And who are these two supposed to be? I'm Harry Kramer and this is Margaret Gotland. We are friends of your sister. Jamie, you called the cops?
What if I did?
Blake shot a harsh glance at his sister, then moved upstairs. The confused and furious Jamie swiftly followed.
Don't ignore me. I'm talking to you.
Somebody beat him up pretty good. A ghost didn't do that.
Come on. There's nothing else we can do here.
Where are we going?
To speak with a certain detective. Across the city, Detective Beauregard approached the quiet alley entrance. Before he entered, he paused at the neatly placed rose. The detective quickly downed a shot from his flask and wiped the excess from his mustache. He kneeled down and picked up the rose. Closely examining the crimson petals, his mind wandered back to the past. Months ago, Beauregard entered a rundown gambling hall. He moved through the crowd of gamblers, prostitutes, and addicts and made his way past the bar, through a dirty hallway and into a back room. Inside a cigarette smoke-filled room, two armed men casually played cards. The detective approached the two. "Is she with it, John?"
No, man, she's resting.
Hey, Copper, your little lotus flower clawed up another client. We had to slap her around a little bit and give her a little extra dose of calm your ass down.
Visibly angered, Beauregard entered a door connected to the back room. There, in another dirty room, was the battered Seiko, clothed in a Japanese schoolgirl outfit she was forced to wear, lying on a dirty mattress in the middle of the room. A chain connected her ankle to a nearby radiator. The corrupt cop's fury grew as he saw the dried tears on her face and the words, "So alone," carved into a baseboard. He leaned down next to her and noticed her jagged and torn nails were caked in dry blood.
Hey, Seiko, here, look at me. I got something for you.
From his suit jacket, he produced a rose with half a stem. His present was ignored as the drug girl's brown eyes stared blankly at him. Beauregard gently placed the rose down and tightly held the unresponsive Seiko.
I'm so sorry about this. I tried to buy your freedom, but I owe Salazar too much already. But don't worry, I'll make this right. Seiko, this is important. You have to listen to me. Look, here's the key to the lock on your chain. I'm going to unlock that window over there, okay? Now listen, baby, you've got to listen to me. Hide the key under your mattress, and tonight, unlock the chain and crawl out of the window. Outside is an alley. Just turn to the right and follow it down. I'll be waiting at the alley entrance for you, okay? We only have one chance at this. Once we're together, we'll skip town. I love you so much, Seiko. Once this is over, we'll be together forever. Okay? Forever.
With a long sigh, Beauregard returned from his painful memory. He dropped the rose back to the pavement and entered the alley.
I'm sorry we couldn't talk sooner, but things have been a little hectic down at the precinct. I see you still have that rose. I don't like that kid coming around here. Why are you letting him get close to you? Are you trying to replace me? I have always taken the best care of you that I possibly could. Your death was not my fault.
The shadowed form of Seiko manifested before him. Her milk-white eyes glared at the sorrowful detective.
God, Seiko, you know I love you. I've always loved you. Don't do this to me. I'll take care of that punk. I'll make him go away, then things can get back to the way they were, okay? Just you and me. No, Seiko, you're mine. You'll always be mine. I'm the one who loves you, not him. I'll kill that little prick.
Black, razor-sharp claws instantly extended from Seiko's right hand as her hair unnaturally whipped about her shoulders.
What are you doing? Oh no, Seiko. Oh God, no!
To be continued.